And we look at all the jocks in New York, and we'll see what they said. Oh, what a surprise! Whoopi Goldberg said that Imus's comment pissed her off. Oh, we'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah, maybe Whoopi's got a past that she should address.
Yeah, exactly.
Her hair.
We go to break with this.
Hey, watch what you say, Jimmy. Don't talk about her hair.
It's true. The boss may walk in and go, oh, he should apologize.
Oh.
Really? Should he? White guy?
Didn't she make her whole career on a character that was based on a nappy-headed hoe?
I think so.
Isn't that how Whoopi started?
Yes. On a one-woman show.
This is the Opie and Anthony.
Just like Imus said.
I beg this company that we work for to hang in there.
Yeah.
Do not fold. For once, do not fold.
Don't worry so much.
Whoopi Goldberg, everyone.
Oh, good.
Whoopi.
Yeah, baby.
Hi, Whoopi.
Hi, Whoopi.
What's your take on your show this morning on this whole thing?
Well, you know what? As I said yesterday, he didn't do anything illegal. But we can't be surprised that people are calling for his resignation. They did it to Trent Lott. They did it to Jimmy the Greek. There were 4 or 5 other people, and I think at some point, people just got to the point where they said it was enough. It's not the first time that Imus has made some remarks like this.
Exactly, because he's based really and has based his whole career on comedy. And you being a comic should know that includes offending people.
Well, this is my take on it. I didn't know he was a comic, and that's the God's honest truth. I know him only as a DJ from when I was a little kid, so I don't know him as a comic.
Well, he's not as funny as we are, but he's in the comedy genre.
It's one of those things that if you're going to make comments like that, you have to know somebody's going to get pissed off, and that's okay.
But Whoopi, as a stand-up, it's like we have this thing where we know we're going to... I'm not talking about being hateful, but people being offended should not cost you your job. I mean, you did your first HBO special. There was a great thing you did about going to the Anne Frank house, and even though your tone was different than Imus's, that could have offended people that you were somehow using the Holocaust. I mean, there's any way to twist something a comedian says, and you can't lose your job for it, especially when he's laughing when he says it, and we know the tone of what he meant.
Well, here's the thing. When I did the Anne Frank piece, it was a theater piece, and everybody knew they were in seeing theater. When you're listening to Don Imus, and he, goes ahead and calls some black girls athletes who had just worked their behinds off and calls them nappy-headed hoes, you got to stop.
I completely disagree. Completely. The tone was he was making a joke. And his show is based on comedy. There was no hate behind what Mr. Imus said.
That is your take on it? I don't know what his take on it was. He says he was making it.
You're looking at it. I'm sorry to interrupt you. You're looking at it like, well, these are girls who worked really hard. Whenever you take something that we make fun of and you look at it like seriously for what it is, well, then it's going to be tough to make fun of it. I mean, people make fun of the war.
Let me ask you this: why didn't he make fun of the Tennessee girls too?
I'm sure. Well, I think that was what Bernard's point about the wannabes and the jigaboos, where what the Spike Lee thing was.
He didn't call them, little white trash jumpers or something.
I'm sure he would have.
You know what I'm saying? If you're going to make the joke, then you gotta know what you're talking about. You gotta really be careful.
So he's got to make sure he jokes about every single person equally. Are you kidding me?
I didn't hear you, baby.
He just went after that visual the other day.
Okay,
so he's supposed to make fun of, if I'm going to make fun of the Rutgers women's basketball team, now I better make fun of the Tennessee women's basketball team? That's not how comedy works.
Maybe the next day he would have.
I'm sorry, I heard you talking. I didn't hear a thing you said.
He was basically...
Slow down so I understand what you're saying to me.
Well, but he was saying that that Imus made fun of the one team doesn't mean he has to make fun of the other team. That was just where the joke went.
Well, the joke fell flat.
Okay, it happens, but look at what happened with you and Ted Danson.
I'm sorry, listen, this is not the first time Imus has stepped in it with race. Now, let's be honest. He talked about a PBS reporter, Gwen Eiffel, as the cleaning. He said, it's nice to see the cleaning lady covering the Washington beat, or whatever that phrase is. He also went after the interracial couple. What is their names? I don't have it in front of me. They just put out a book.
But that's okay, so it's a little tasteless.
Wait a minute. Now, I listened really patiently.
All right.
So I think people are at the point, particularly people of color, and I think a lot of women are offended because this is, it's hard enough being a female athlete. For him to have just sort of stepped in, I think people are saying, you know what, you got to deal with this. And as I said yesterday, what he said was not illegal. What he said was not, I think, finable. But it was wrong. It was morally wrong.
All right, so you say it's wrong. Should he be fired for that?
Do I think he should be fired? He should be fired as much as Trent Lott was fired, as much as Jimmy the Greek was fired. These are the consequences. Listen, Rush Limbaugh got
Jimmy the Greek wasn't a comedian when he said what he said.
The bottom line is,
I can't hear you.
When you look at something like Cheryl Underwood, look at the type of material she does and the things she goes after. Why is it?
I don't know who you're talking about.
Cheryl Underwood, she's a black female comic. And she goes after race pretty hard. She drops N-bombs.
Does she have a radio show?
Doesn't matter. We're talking about the right...
Excuse me.
Hold on. No, I'm answering.
I don't know who.
Why should radio show hosts that do a comedy show be held to higher standards?
Okay.
As like network news. Are you crazy?
Listen,
we should be able to say whatever the hell we want when we do our program.
Excuse me. God bless you. Now, I'm willing to listen to you, but you know what? If you're going to talk over me, I don't know who Cheryl Norton is, so I can't comment on what she does.
No, Cheryl Underwood, not Cheryl Norton. Cheryl Underwood.
Underwood. You're Norton.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Jeez.
Hey, what about Ted Danson?
I don't want to comment on her because I don't know what
I'm
she
having a conversation with
Whoopi, what about the Ted Danson incident? You guys caught... You were making a racial point. No. But I'm saying...
Hang up.
See?
Because you said the Ted Danson thing.
Why would she
hang up
on that?
Oh, another pussy.
Why would she hang up on that?
Why would she hang up at the Ted Danson thing?
Another knockout punch for the boys.
But why would she hang up on that? That was a very legitimate question.
That is an absolute valid point.
It's like,
how come it was okay when Ted Danson got in blackface and she came to his defense, and that was considered very offensive, very racist, and she came to his defense on that, but she will say that Imus should be fired for doing what he did, which was a bad joke. And
I wasn't even attacking her with that.
No.
My point was, how can you defend one aspect of racial parody, but not another aspect of it? Like when you're involved with it because you're black, it's okay.
Hang up. You hear it? Hang up, Ted Danson, hang up.
Why?
Repeat after me. Down goes Whoopi. Down goes Whoopi.
Wow.
People...
And we were just going to discuss it.
That was not even an attack. That was a real question.
No, it was honestly... I just wanted to have a dialogue with the woman. That's all.
What's the Ted Danson thing offended a lot of people. You've been on the other end of this, and you know from your point of view how ridiculous it was that people reacted that way. So why is that acceptable and understandable, and yet Imus's racial stuff is not? That's phony.
Wow.
Why would she hang up?
She panicked.
I didn't expect that.
Hang up. Because we were simulcasted there. She doesn't want to go down that road.
They're calling from inside the building.
Hang up.
Oh, wait a minute. We were on their show, too?
Yeah, I would
gather.
Why would they hang up on that?
Because a little pussy boy has to agree with everything Whoopi says.
But I don't.
I heard him in the background helping her along with her facts.
Chubby Cubby.
Is that his name? No, I swear to God. Is it Cubby?
Cubby, yeah. Why would they hang up on
Little Cubby.
Oh, bravo. Still undefeated.
All right, so far, Dice, Man Queer, and Whoopi have hung up on us when confronted with anything.
Only in the last 2 weeks, by the way.
God.
By the way,
what is wrong with her?
He has a radio show is not legitimate because we're talking about the right to parody race and do things like that without the consequences of losing your job.
Yeah.
Don't throw out, he's got a show, but I did it here. We're not talking about FCC violations.
How can a comedian that has been known over the years for doing very irreverent, very racially based comedy like her, how could she call for the firing of somebody for doing that?
And that's stupid. And that Anne Frank question was. Here's my point with that.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Well, why are you, as an artist, allowed to use race or horrible things in your art, and yet he's not? As much as you don't like it, as much as you think it's unpleasant, as an artist,
that's why.
You have that right.
Because she thinks it's unpleasant.
And so does he. A lot of Jews might think, I don't care how you're using it, the Holocaust is not appropriate on a comedy special.
For any kind of joking, right.
By the way, very good observation from Wilkes-Barre. Chris K. Through the whole interview, Whoopi's, I can't hear you, right? So
she always said that to you, like your mic might have been feeding to her. I don't get that.
Well, Chris K. writes, of course she heard you guys that time.
Yeah, she heard that Ted Danson line.
But she couldn't hear every other line?
If someone gets her the audio,
That's surprising.
I got to hear that again.
Whoopi, why would you
hang up. You know,
Ted Danson, hang up.
You've been on the end of this firestorm when it shouldn't have happened, and you know how stupid it is.
Whoopi, a little message to Whoopi. You're out of your league. Go back to doing cute little things for women on your show. Play it safe. You can't hang with the big boys.
But she probably said,
question by Jimmy.
If they go for the Ted Danson thing, hang up.
But it was a real question. And
it was a real question.
Point. Like, it wasn't to sandbag her. It was like, that's pretty common knowledge. How can you say that when you stood in the firing squad and you knew how stupid it was?
When a white man is wearing blackface.
You knew what he meant.
Yeah, and telling offensive jokes. And you came to his defense.
On the surface, that looks racist and horrible, but in context, you knew what it was.
Yeah.
And you heard Imus laughing and doing it's against women. Everybody wants to be victimized. Whoopi, what a phony. That really bugs me.
Hang up.
Why would you
I gotta hear that again.
Prank caller.
So then Sharpton goes on. This is Paul is on. Getting back to that because Whoopi had a chicken out. She just played into our hands. What can I tell you?
And I understand she was trying to make a point. She didn't want to be talked over. Okay, fine. That was a very legitimate question. That's going to annoy me all day.
Sharpton says he's done shows against Flavor Flav.
This is not about just him. I've done on my radio shows whole shows condemning Flavor Flav and others that I disagreed with. So I think that we must be clear here that we're not just talking about Imus, but that the defense of Imus is not, I'm not the only one.
Yeah, well, did you fight to have Flavor Flav's show removed? Did you scream as loudly about Flavor Flav? Did you organize protests against Flavor Flav? You phony?
No.
You fat fraud?
He did a whole show on nappy-headed hoes. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's
Flavor
his whole
Flav.
series.
That was what the whole show is based on.
You know what happens when there's a black artist or genre, rap music that degrades women or uses bad words. They don't have a protest. They don't call for firings. They have a summit.
Yes.
They word it differently.
Meetings.
They have meetings. They have a rap summit.
Yep.
They get together and discuss what can be done about this. The second white people do something offensive, it's a protest, demonstrations, calls for firing. It's treated differently. So no matter what he says about how he disagrees with what Flavor Flav and other rap artists are doing, it's treated differently because they're black and the other artists are white. And instead of having a meeting or a summit or something that sounds nice, they want firings and protests.
Bravo. By the way, Kevin from Marblehead, Massachusetts, according to official scores, Whoopi's hang-up after hearing Ted Danson was timed at 2.4 seconds, not breaking the record held by Opie. Dice, 1.4 seconds after hearing Opie. They keep trying everything out there. Hey, Reverend Al Sharpton says he will continue trying to get Imus fired.
At the end of the day, do you think this guy's going to get fired or not?
At the end of the day, I think we're going to keep mobilizing to stop him and anyone else.
You didn't answer the question. Do you have any
anyone
faith
else?
that he'll get fired?
This is why we
that people will mobilize and he will be fired.
Focus on his kid.
All right, Reverend Al Sharpton, thank you for your time tonight. Appreciate your scurrying over here.
In a year, so of course everybody's talking about this. Race is a very sensitive issue.
Anyone else? That's why we're talking about this today, because they're going to come for us next.
Anyone else?
Anyone else that's just trying to do a comedy show that might slip.
I can't believe a stand-up comic of that veteran status would take that kind of... It's not like they overheard him dropping an N-bomb and the mics were on, where it was real.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing.
And you know what? Her audience did not hear that whatsoever, because I guarantee they dumped out of that. I just hope FMQB is listening.
Oh, Whoopi, why?
Oh, we'll send the audio to FMQB. We want everyone to know that she just wimped out. Hang up. You heard it on our end.
With a legitimate question.
That had everything to do with the Imus situation.
It was absolutely related to this situation.
Hey, speaking of Reverend Al, we got to play this. All right, we're back with the Opie and Anthony show. Whoopi called off air to try to discuss it further. I don't know what that does, but...
Yeah, I don't know.
Her remarks on the Ted Danson thing was that I dealt with that X amount of years ago, and I didn't want to talk about it.
She doesn't want to bring it up.
Hey, if you're going to comment in the papers about a racial thing that's happening, and you've been there before,
That is so similar, yeah.
Yes.
Then you got to stay out of this one.
Yeah.
Just keep your mouth shut, because people are going to bring up, something that you were involved with that's similar.
Yeah, I mean, look, here's the bottom line. She gets what we're saying. We get what she's saying. We all just disagree on it. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
But I didn't like the way she hung up like that. I think that was like...
What bothers me is she's like, I had no idea that Imus did a comedy show. I mean, come on. Everyone knows that Imus bases this show on getting some laughs.
It sounds a little out of touch.
You think?
Just a tad. I don't know.
Oh, wow. We got famous people.